G'day subscribers, today we're going to Jive talk about books, paint and clips. You're with Jules Knight on Jive Talk and Garage. What I'd like to show you today, folks, is just a couple of things that I've gotten onto in the last little while. I originally had this book, so it's 25 that side with the white with the black writing, and on that side it's 25. It's the same both ways. But what it is a 25 years of Holden. So it's their own publication. It's quite a good book. It's got some really trendy colours. You can tell the influence of the 70s in it. It just looks, beautiful as far as all the photographs and everything like that is concerned. Now, when I sold my ute and I bought a red convertible Mustang that ended up getting stolen, I actually parted with my pristine copy of this book. So it was very nice to see one pop up a little while ago. So, I sold mine in, 1999. And in 2021, I'm able to basically buy it back. Same price. Great. Everyone goes home happy. But look, I think that's a terrific book. So if you see the book with a big 25 on it, you'll know what it's for, and it's well worth having a look through. Really good information, all that sort of stuff. I love that. So I love books anyway, but I put that with my Holden things. And in saying that, at the moment I can't find my history of Holden, but I know it's around here somewhere in the Jive Talk and Garage, so that's perfectly fine. Now look, what I had done recently is I responded on Facebook Marketplace. There was a guy selling some Holden things, and I bought a whole heap of little stuff. So, I got some headlight bucket clips and things that I'm probably going to need. And also, speed clips, plenty of speed clips, because let's face it, you'll be putting your guards back together and there'll be something that's missing, or when you're putting the upper baffle panel back on, the screw won't go on because it doesn't like the speed clip or whatever. So I thought it's really handy to have some extra stuff. I just keep everything in a sealed bag and you don't have problems because you got stuff. Who cares? And I did the same for brake hoses. I've got some brake hose clips as well. Things that I would literally use. So and they're a pretty easy thing to actually slip the brake hose into and out of, but it just holds it into place. I was surprised how actually easy it was. Now, I've been collecting these little things. Now, with my upper tailgate and with carburetors and things like that, you'll need this little clip. So it's, it latches onto a pin. So a pin will go along here and then kick out at 90 degrees and come through that little hole. And then to lock it in place, well, that goes down across the shaft of the pin. So it's quite clever, really, and that's sort of like a locking clip. So it locks the little apparatus, whether it be a pivot for a carburetor or the upper tailgate mechanism. So that's what that does. So that's quite a clever thing. But this I liked, and so I've been trying to grab these whenever I can or whenever I see them, and I'll get a rubbishy looking one for you. Now look, this is for wiring. So you can see the wires would go through there, and you could slide that. To where your dash comes down, for instance, or like so that you could actually run your wiring through there, and that way it's sort of holding in place. There's no drilling of any holes or anything like that. But this clip, this is what that holds it onto the body part, and then this clip is what you actually put the wires through. And I thought, that's a great little idea. So, I try and grab that type of thing whenever I can. Now, if I can direct your attention to the AHF newsletters that were put out for the Shepparton Nationals. Now, one of the enthusiasts, I think Barry Black, is a fellow concerned. Now, he put a whole heap of clips and illustrations together as far as, what a FX is supposed to have, a 48215, and what an FJ is supposed to have underneath the bonnet and so on. So I'll see if I can grab that and put it up for subscribers. But we want to, thank the AHF for that, and also Barry for his contribution to that newsletter at the time. But that's fine. Now, on the theme of books, I had lost this book. Don't know how, don't know where, don't know when, but I'd lost it. And the man who was the author, I think, came and talked to my club in the 80s, and he sold his little book there and stuff like that. It was really interesting. His name is Harry Cape, and the book title is 5 Times Round. And the thing that made me laugh was 5 times round, now including 6th time around. So this was a great little book about, the Red X trials and also the mobile trials that were held for the Round Australia Rally. Now, I've got to say, they really opened up the country, and proved that you could probably go anywhere in this vast brown land in a sturdy automobile. So, excuse me. Basil gave that one to me, and I'm really happy about that. I'll catch up on my reading maybe one day when my FJ is finished. Who knows? But look, what I also have been doing is assembling the paint that I need. So subscribers will be able to recall that I've already gone ahead and bought a temporary motor, and I bought a professionally put together gearbox and things like that from one of our subscribers and members of Nasco Bay Jive Talking Garage, so thank you. But what I've also done is I've gone out and I've got the right, engine grey. So I've got the right engine grey for it. Now, the most important thing when you get and store paint or you're going to paint little fiddly jobs and stuff like that is stir the paint till you're happy with it, and then stir it again. And if you've got a bit more time, stir it again after that, because it takes a while for the right colour to mix all the way through it. Sorry about bumping everything. When I painted my ute, I had a friend whose panel shop that I used, and I had 16 litres of calamine blue. I only used 7, I suppose. But what I did was I took his advice and I got a 20-litre drum, cleaned it all out, and I boxed all the paint. Now, boxing the paint is, I had 4 tins, so I'd pour half of number 1 in, half of number 2 in, half of number 3 in, and I just stirred. I would stir the first one, I would stir the second one, same for 3 and 4, and then I would tip some into the other one. I would tip 3 into 2, I'd tip 1 into 4, I'd tip it into the boxing drum of paint. I'd pour that drum into each of the other little paint tins, and I'd stir them up. And I've got to say, the process probably took me about 2 hours. But what I was trying to do was, firstly, listen to an old fellow who had much more experience than me, and secondly, get all of the paint colours that were in each of the cans consistent, such that if anything happened, it didn't matter what can you grabbed, providing you stirred the paint, you'd have a perfectly matched colour. Like, there wasn't one tin was a little bit different as far as what was in the recipe and the formula for each one. You know, like they try and get it right as best they possibly can. However, you just got to really, really stir it. So I can't be more emphatic about that. But what if you're going to have a little go at painting of things? You'll need some stuff. I always have a paint opener. I've got a couple of these. Like that's very reminiscent of a tube remover or a tire remover for a bicycle, but that's really just to get in the paint tin and get under there, and as you're going around, rather than using a screwdriver, which can ruin the lid. So there's that. There's a couple of different types of stirrer. There's this type, which is called a colour spoon, and has a handy little hook to sit on your 4-litre drum. That's fine, be that as it may, but it also has these little flow-through holes that are in there. So as you're stirring, you're actually stirring up the trace elements down the bottom where you're actually getting a lot of tinters, and then this is allowing the paint to flow through it. So look, it's not bad. And the same for the Dulux paint stirrer as well. This has measurements on the side, because if you read your technical information on the side of your paint, it'll say, as far as product is concerned, 1 part product, 1.5 parts thinners, for instance, for acrylic lacquer or whatever is the case, or you'll sort of get the knack to, after paint's been thinned, how much product, like for instance, if residue paint's been poured back into the paint tin, when you go to use it a second time, the ratio is not going to be exactly the same. So you've sort of got to get a bit used to it, and sort of do it by eye. But generally speaking, these are good. These are good as far as stirring is concerned. Now, some of the things that I've been watching with for instance, graveyard cars have been really good. And I picked this up from the paint shop the other day. Now, what I liked about this is on the inside of it, so that's here, it's got all of the mills, so it's in reverse to you now. It's got all of the mills going from, obviously 0 through to 2000. So you can make up as much paint and ingredient product that you need to get your spraying right when you're trying to be precise. Now, I'm going to be using this type of thing with my stuff. It's available now. I want to make sure I get it right. I want to do the best that I can. So I want to use this and also set it as an example to the apprentice. So I'm sort of passing things on. Now the other things. So I've told you, grab the engine bay. So that's sort of set aside and ready to roll. I've also grabbed the Mundy Brown and also put a bit of a paint patch, a swatch on there to say colour name, date that I bought it, and also a quick sample. I think that's a really clever idea. Michael showed me that and I thought, good idea. So that's for the timber boards, so they're Quila. Well, that's what the sawmill told me. Quila boards, Mundy Brown, boards brown, and cargo runners, the sliders, the clamps, they are brown as well, and the hardware that just goes through the nuts and they're actually a tank bolt. They're just natural finish. So that's the Mundy Brown. And the other thing that I like is regulator box, starter motor, generator, and the distributor cup are Bosch Brown. So I've gone and had Bosch Brown made up, so you can see, and I reckon they got it right. They really nailed the Bosch Brown. So I'm super happy with that. Bosch Brown, the date, colour sample on top. Just makes it easy just to reach over and grab, and you're in business. Now, the other, when you're at a shop, don't just sort of, I won't say just go in there and buy a product and get out of there. Have a look around to see what they've got. And the reason I say that is I've been watching Chris Birdsong's channel on YouTube called Junker Up, and he is probably the best fabricator I've seen. And one of the tips that he gave subscribers was a weld through primer. So so for somebody like me who's going to be working underneath my FJ, and when I point over there, that's because my FJ is literally just there, I need to take the rusty inner sills off as I'm preparing underneath, and where the sills will be welded, what I should be doing is to protect the metal and use the weld through primer. So that'll seal everything, but it will also allow the sills to be welded on because it is the weld through primer. Now, they're about $30-something, low 30s. But I was only able to know they had that by just going and getting this paint. So I implore people, while you're there, have a look around. They've got other stuff as well. You think, oh, okay, well, I need that, but they've got all these other things as well, other things. And then you think, I want me some of that. And from that perspective, you are able to take home, zinc paint, weld through primer. They've got them in like copper base and all sorts of things, but really, really good products that are actually going to help you, particularly if you're doing a build and you just need to, get everything sorted. But weld through primer, the specialty paints, the clips, the brake hoses, the stirring sticks, the books, the measuring cups, all the things to help you make it easier to paint your car, put your car back together. That's what we've talked about today. So look, I really hope that was sort of interesting. Stop by the Quirky Home of Holden and see what we're doing on Facebook at Nasco Bay Jive Talking Garage. Have a look at our other clips. So, share, like, and subscribe. But more importantly, enjoy your Holden.